You're listening to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin, and this is the show where you get expert advice about the heavy duty parts you buy and sell and keep you informed about what's happening in the industry. Vehicle owners of commercial vehicles with diesel engines know how much disruption is caused when a truck breaks down because of a diesel emission system failure. It's a very costly event. It creates a lot of frustration. And unfortunately, over the 15 years or so that the diesel emission system has been with us, it hasn't necessarily gotten a whole lot better. So what is the solution? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Paul Marek, who's the co-founder, and Bill McLaury, who is the operations manager at DPFauthority.com. And we're going to introduce you to this part of their company as well as the other branches of their company. And they're here today to really talk to us about how important it is to pay attention to the preventative side of after-treatment maintenance. So I'm really excited to talk to them. Paul, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm glad to have you with us.
You're welcome.
And Bill, nice to have you here. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us.
Oh, thanks for including us.
So I'd like to kind of start the conversation off by reading you something that I got directly from your website on one of your articles. It says, strictly speaking, diesel particulate filters, DPFs, DOCs, SCRs, and their associated hardware have proven pretty reliable over time. Now, that statement got my attention because what came next, talking about preventative maintenance, was really the point that you were getting at. So if it is true that the actual technology behind the hardware is pretty reliable, why, Bill, is there so much trouble with the diesel emission system?
Well, I say it really comes down to lack of knowledge of the owners for the most part. You'd be amazed, even to this day, how few people understand that there's even a urea filter that needs to be changed. Mileage stipulations for servicing, understanding the quality of fuel. It comes down to knowing what will prevent failure.
And Paul, you're a co-founder of this company. Obviously, at some point, you saw a big enough need in the industry to invest resources into developing DPFauthority.com. So what was the big motivation behind that move?
I firmly believe in technology and recognizing this new technology coming out. We bought the equipment years ago, knowing that there would be a market. It's just service it. Right now it's diesels, could be electric in the future, but right now it's diesel and it's after treatment. So just seeing that need, what got us started.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with a business plan built around servicing customers' needs. And we're going to talk a little bit later about all the different aspects of your company. But when we talk about how you got the company started, how many years total has your organization been helping people with diesel engines?
Approximately 43 years.
43 years young. So you've learned a few things over that time.
Growing up in this Southwest Detroit area, just building diesel engines and cleaning parts and grinding valves and building cylinder heads. Wasn't even a teenager yet doing that. So yes, goes back a long ways.
There's been a lot of changes since the days of when everything was mechanical. Bill, I'm kind of curious from your perspective. I know that you've got a lot of experience on the after treatment side. Let's break down the solution. When we talk about preventative after treatment maintenance, what are we actually talking about when we use those words?
Well, honestly, I think that oftentimes what's forgotten is it's not even so much the treatment devices themselves. It's the exhaust that's going through the treatment devices, which means it comes down to engine maintenance, oil changes, quality of fuel, tune-ups, not necessarily so much tune-ups anymore with electronic engines, but the condition of fuel injectors and pumps and all those things that are creating poor combustion, which leads to loaded up DPFs and DOCs and downtime and uptime problems.
And not to mention air filtration.
Absolutely. So I think people forget about that. And fuel especially, we found in Michigan with winter, cold climates, nothing more inefficient potentially than a cold diesel engine and white unburnt fuel passing through exhaust systems. You're not going to be on the road long.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were talking, I was thinking back to the days when I was in a cooperative automotive program. It was like a cooperative education with local businesses. So I was in high school and I got to work in a repair shop. And I remember my instructor, the owner of the shop, and he was talking about how important it is on an automotive vehicle to change your oil regularly, change your filters. And everything was all built around mileage, right? Change your oil filter every so many miles, change your air filter so many miles, things like that. One thing that we know about operating commercial vehicles with diesel engines is that when these after-treatment systems were developed, everything was built around mileage recommendations, especially around the DPF. But when I was reading your article, one thing that I noticed is that that's actually part of the problem. So, Bill, could you tell us a little bit more about what kinds of things should cue regular maintenance on after-treatment systems as opposed to just relying on a specific mileage?
Well, yeah. I mean, really, it depends on if the word of the idiosyncrasies or the differences in the piece of equipment. I mean, obviously, a bus that spends most of its day starting and stopping, rarely reaching speeds above 30, 35 miles an hour, rarely making the engine temps necessary to keep an exhaust system clean, as compared to the over-road driver who's always running a load, always running hot, and rarely have to go in any type of a regen situation because of the fact that he's got hot exhaust temps. And there's nothing better for an exhaust treatment system than keeping your exhaust temps high. So that's really, it depends on the location of the vehicle. School buses, you'll see that. I mean, those are the customers that are in constant need of support, whether it be cleaning or replacement, because of the fact that the conditions are cold engines, rarely reaching exhaust temps.
Vocation is such an important piece to that puzzle. I remember when I was a sales account manager selling heavy duty parts in northern Canada and also in the Vancouver area. I mean, you couldn't get much different. Northern Canada, it's oil field, it's logging, it's mining. Then you go to like the urban center in Vancouver and you're selling to gravel trucks, but that never leave the city, or municipal vehicles that are start and stop, school buses, things like that. So really what you're saying is that you have to build a preventative maintenance program that fits the application, not just the vehicle, but also what the vehicle does.
Absolutely. And most larger fleets now, will be logging or cataloging when DPFs and DOCs are coming off for cleaning. So they're going to get a pretty good idea, usually, even by engine or chassis, because I suppose that that will make a difference as well, horsepower. But how long these units are going before they're necessarily to have brought in for cleaning and soot removal. If they don't have a maintenance program, boy, they really have to be in the dark.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by DPF Fit, a manufacturer of DPFs and DOCs that offer OEM durability and performance with aftermarket affordability. To learn more, go to dpfxfit.com. Before the break, we were talking about the importance of having a customized after-treatment maintenance plan that fits not just the application of the vehicle, but also the vocation. I'd like to now talk a little bit about dpfauthority.com. Paul, when people go to this website, what are they going to find?
They're going to find solutions to their problems. And those problems are finding the clamps, the gaskets, the DOCs or DPFs, the bunts. Sometimes they break off. Tools to remove the sensors availability. All those things they might need to service that DPF could be found on DPF Authority.
It's so much more than just buying a replacement DPF, isn't it?
Yes. In addition to, what we have knowledgeable people on staff that can answer questions. So everybody always has a question. That's probably the most important thing about separates us from everyone else. Everyone has questions they don't understand. We take that time to help people solve a problem. We don't want to just sell a DPF. We want to solve the problem. The sale will take care of itself, but solving the problem for customers is probably the first things first. Could be something else, and they're chasing the wrong problem, blaming a DPF when it's completely something else, a sensor.
How long has DPFauthority.com been part of your company? I know that your entire company started over 43 years ago, but Bill, how long has the website been up and running?
I believe it's 4 years.
About 4 years,
Yeah,
yes.
about 4 years.
We recognize that need to try and get this information out to the public.
Right. So you launched the website about 4 years ago. And one thing I noticed is you've got the ability for people to do searches and interchanges. How important is that function on the website, Bill?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously, it's almost a silly game that we have to play with the OE because oftentimes everybody feels those cross references and interchanges is something they do to keep the aftermarket on their toes. So we more importantly than anything else is understanding supersessions and knowing, what that final end number is that you need. And whether it's correct or not to match your model. They may look identical, but there's always concern that they're not identical. So offering people the ability to solve those cross references and supersessions and interchanges.
We've all been in the business for a long time. I'm used to the aftermarket where there's one OE number and there's many, many aftermarket options. And it almost feels with Aftertreatment, it's like the reverse. You see a tag and there's like one aftermarket number, and then there's like 6 or 7 different OE numbers because of that constant changing of numbers. Keeping on top of that data is a real full-time job.
It is a full-time job. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, another thing I noticed about the structure of the website is that it's very focused on e-commerce. Why did you choose to go in that direction over the traditional sites that we mostly see in heavy duty?
I think that buying practices have changed and our customers are comfortable with it. It's what they're looking for. The business is getting younger and younger and younger. People want to point and click. We're a busy society and people want to move fast. If they know what they want, we want to be able to solve that solution and make that sale fast.
I think it's a brilliant move because, like you said, buying habits are changing. And I know that all my mentors, like one after another, are retiring fast. All the people that I kind of grew up in the industry that trained me and taught me, that they're all leaving. And there's not as many young people to replace them. So you have this big kind of massive problem with all of these different facets, right? You've got more people leaving the industry than coming in. You've got a lot of confusion about after treatment. You've got the people who are left behind are expected to do more just to service the customers. And so adding this, Paul, it doesn't completely replace the traditional ways that we service customers, but it really complements it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think you just mentioned that a lot of experience and talent that leaving the field was being replaced by those who are just know about click and order. And we have to make sure that we keep up with that generation of people who are clicking. And they could be next door, but they're not going to send their driver, or they're going to click and expect it to be on the counter when they show up. So it's just having that ability of e-commerce is a way to do it, to keep up with everyone else.
I know a technology guy who said, Jamie, when it comes to the heavy duty industry, you guys either need to learn Amazon's business or Amazon's going to learn your business. And it's kind of up to you how that goes. So we certainly, I'm always celebrating any company that has taken the approach to integrate a digital sales channel. Good for you. So remember, if you want to buy these parts, you can go to dpfauthority.com. But I also noticed on the website that you offer cleaning of DPFs. So can you just talk me through, Bill, the process there of how that would work?
Yeah, I mean, we offer the traditional bake and blow method. We, like most, I think everybody's gotten pretty good at servicing DPFs. It's been long enough. More, pin testing, looking for cracked cores, weighing before and after, automated baking, cool down, and then extraction. And our equipment has the camera, so you can see the media that's being extracted.
We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by DPF Fit, a manufacturer of DPFs and DOCs that offer OEM durability and performance with aftermarket affordability. To learn more, go to dpfxfit.com. We're back from our break, and before the break, we were learning all about dpfauthority.com, how they service their customers, how they've gone with a digital sales channel to better serve their customers. And I really was curious, Bill, on the website, I saw that you also have an exchange program, and I wanted to learn more about how that exchange program would work since your website is so focused on e-commerce.
Exchange may not be quite the right term. What we found was really a great impetus for business in getting people to trust your cleaning methods and trust your product. Right off the get, we decided that we were going to buy a DPF, get your DPF cleaned for free. And so that got people not only to experience the new product and trust the aftermarket product, but also to see after the DPF has been cleaned, what it looked like, I think that was, if there was one thing that we did in sales or marketing, that was the one thing that really spurred growth. Yeah, absolutely. And we still do it. And people love it.
What a great idea, because one of the things that I've seen is this real emphasis on uptime. And so if you can get into a DPF that is brand new, you can install it on your truck, you can have the other one clean. Now you've got a backup. Now you don't have to worry about when this thing needs to be cleaned. I'm going to be down for a day. And I just think that was, obviously customers rewarded you by, like you said, it really fueled growth, because that was a really smart move.
Yeah, it worked out really, really well.
So Paul, you alluded to the fact that your parent company that has been in business for 43 years, DPFauthority.com, has been up and running now for 4 years. I'd like to learn a little bit more about the other areas of servicing diesel trucks that you can help your customers with.
So the way we started, but Superior Diesel Repair was the original company name. We brought in Superior Turbo Injection about 5 years after being in business to let people know we did all turbos for cars, for trucks, for boats, because some people thought we just worked on diesels. So Superior Diesel Repair is the parent company, is the original name. And it just helped grow that fuel injection business. So we do fuel injectors with turbochargers, fan clutches, and other related components. So we broke the business in half, basically. So a diesel repair, which is class 8 and down of all diesel engines, and then parts distribution, which we have going right here.
So a superior solution for everything under the hood. When you talk about fan clutches, what are you talking about? Are you rebuilding them? Are you just replacing them and supplying parts and kits? Or what work do you do with fan clutches? I'm kind of partial to that, because when I started my career back in 98, I was working for a remanufacturer, and fan clutches and kits were one of the things that we did. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about that.
Well, it's funny you ask, but fan clutches kind of became my specialty. We kind of split up product lines here, and we do all fan clutches, air, viscous. They break and people need to fix them. So we do rebuild the fan clutches. We offer many rebuilds. In fact, something we pride in having as many rebuilds or in some cases, the new ones available. But we also offer same day, same hour service. If you had a truck with an unusual fan clutch on it, you bring in, and we're willing to rebuild it right now, whether it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, to get that truck back on the road. That's something we pride ourselves in doing is like you say, is having uptime. Sometimes you can't prevent a truck from going down, but getting that fan clutch turned around ASAP, side on the side of the road, is something that's got to happen. That truck cannot sit there. That load's just in time. It must roll. So being able to repair them on the spot, have them all options, and something that people don't think about, but the fan blade attached is that we have probably 1,000 fan blades in stock. We custom cut to size and balance here, approved by the OEs naturally. And so we have virtually fan blades. We can make 10,000 variations of fan blades for absolutely any piece of equipment, in addition to road trucks.
Right. And when a fan clutch goes down, it oftentimes can be an inconvenience all the way up to a catastrophic failure that takes out, like you say, the fan blade. It could take out the rad. It can be a big deal. So having that flexibility and ability to rebuild whatever unit comes down, whether it's air or viscous, to be able to change the fan blade. I see how that your customers they must just love that service.
It is a great service to offer. And having people at the counter are able to understand the problem, why they failed. If there's a warranty failure, it's usually misunderstood. The first thing I do is blame the part. When you see 2 or 3 fail, we try to explain, again, it goes back to our core of our business. Work the customer, learn the problem, try and get it replaced the first time. We really try to help them out when something goes wrong, but it could be a valve, an airline, just many variables in why something would fail. Given all the right ingredients, they'll last for many, many years. Just like I say, having that expertise and helping that customer figure out his problem and fixing it the right way the first time.
One of the most unique things, I think, in regards to our parts and service is on the fan clutch side is that 99% of what we sell is aftermarket OE. I mean, oftentimes, people are always concerned about aftermarket parts. They're offshore, will fit. And we're selling the exact OE duplicate, either whether it be kits or internals or complete assemblies that would install that on that engine the day it left the factory, whether it be, Horton or Borg Warner. That's what you receive when you buy from us. And it usually pricing that's unparalleled, and inventory that's incredible. We have hundreds, thousands of fan clutches in stock, thousands of blades. I mean, I would list this as probably one of the top 2 or 3 premier aftermarket suppliers of fan clutch and blades in the country.
So, and not to mention that I own the domain fanclutch.com. So we service, because of that site, which has been going about 15 years, we got customers worldwide buying fan clutches from us. And fan clutch has been obsoleted or discontinued. And we actually make clutches or make adapters and find other clutches that work and make some kits for the OE. And this is something that we've been doing for years.
So regardless of whether it's turbo, fuel injection, fan clutches, after treatment system, you guys have really touched on a couple of the really important things, right? One, having the great products available, having a good solid service, but also helping customers to be able to identify the cause of the problem and not just the symptom. So in everything I'm hearing from you, I can just hear that is kind of part of the underpinning of everything that you do.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So if you were going to leave, Bill, I'm going to throw this to you first. If you're going to leave our audience with just one thing about after treatment that you want them to make sure they take away from today's conversation, what's that one thing?
Absolutely maintenance and quality of fuel and quality of the operating engine. People just can't grasp that a poorly running engine is going to lead to a lot of money in the after treatment side of the system. And it's silly, it's sad, and it's wasteful.
And Paul, you're someone who's been in this world for over 4 decades. Drop some value for us. What's one thing you want people to remember from all the years that you've been in this business? What's the most important thing people need to remember?
As Bill mentioned, our product is more OE, our aftermarket product more OE than what they actually sell. But buying the right one the first time and getting the correct information the first time and buying once instead of buying the wrong one and then finding us afterwards, get the right product the first time.
You've been listening to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin. We've been speaking with Paul Marek, who's the co-founder of Superior, the parent company of DPFauthority.com. And we've been also talking with Bill McLaury, who is the operations manager. Paul, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Bill, thank you as well for sharing your expertise. I really appreciate it.
So glad to be here. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin, and I just like to remind everyone to focus on cost per mile and let's keep those trucks and trailers rolling. You can watch our next video. Make sure to click the like button, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.